Hey guys, welcome to this upload for you guys today here on Wrestling Fan Open My Night. Here exclusively on YouTube.com. So if you are not a honest, professional wrestling fan, you've come to the right place. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you'll be notified anytime when I do any videos. Now, I just want to say to every one of you guys is thank you ever so much for checking out my last video I actually uploaded. Yes, it made a bit of an uproar on social media towards me sharing it around, but I don't focus on the negatives. End of the day, it just proves that you just probably buy a DVD or a Blu-ray just to look at the cover. Now, if you judge by what the thumbnail was and not the content, my bad, because quite honestly, you missed a interesting video what I actually was talking about. But you got to understand this, guys. As a wrestling fan, I'm going to be honest about it, and I've always been honest about it since 2010. Not on this very channel, on other channels, when I've actually been guests on different podcasts or being over Gavin Knox when I was doing my wrestling reviews. People didn't like my opinion towards it because at the end of the day, if we all thought the same, it'd be a boring world. At least one thing, I turned the negative into a positive narrative right here on YouTube. Now, I just want to say to every one of you guys is that end of the day, you've got to think this, right? This we know full well WWE is the biggest juggernaut in professional wrestling. Now, I've got to say to every one of you guys at home that the amount of times that when I was growing up as a child watching professional wrestling, that we actually had that celebrity endorsement, we might want to say, even if it was like an NFL player or a former player turned professional wrestler, or a movie star making a cameo in the crowd, even though they get free tickets. I don't know why, because they earn more money than we do day in, day out. I still don't get that why. But obviously, if you're a celebrity and you pay your way, fair dues. You know, a lot of celebrities have. But I've noticed with the likes of WWE's deal with Netflix, they love to promote the Netflix shows and so on like that. But then you think about the celebrities that actually have a hot odd match, not one or two. You know, over the years we had like Mr. T in the 80s or some sort of way or form like that. Or you actually had in WCW, you had likes of Robocop endorsing it or Chucky from Child's Play. You know, we just had those sort of endorsements from movie stars and TV stars. And now I feel like, in a way, in many, many ways, we could actually say TV is a dying art form, even though here in the United Kingdom we pay for a TV license. Yes, it is true, we pay monthly or yearly outright to have a TV license so we can watch live TV. You know, even if it's watching WWE live on Netflix or watching our TV providers towards our sports, our movies, our dramas, etc. But even though I still feel like a lot of people are watching things on the internet a lot more than what they paid for their paid subscription. You know, that's just mad to think how much that has evolved from a box, from a black and white screen where families used to gather together. Now you can sit in your own room, like myself, watching the likes of anything that crosses my mind when I actually want to watch TV. But within the last past month, obviously due to work and personal commitments and sleeping pattern, I've not actually got to watch any TV as such. Even though I work in a pub, we have Sky Sports, or we have like a some way or form that, you know, to show live broadcasts. You know, even if it's the news or if it's darts, end of the day, it's our very own hands. We can travel technically the the United Kingdom, or if not the world, to watch other programs. The last thing I technically watched was Saturday Night Main Event UK. Yes, believe it or not, we do have our own version, and I think tonight is the third episode. I'm looking forward to watching that one at some point when I got some free time. You know, obviously, yes, I watch AEW, but like what I'm getting at is there's not that much that people watch this day and age. They do watch it online a lot more. You know, they used to battle over the TV license situation, saying, "Oh, I watch my stuff on Netflix. I don't need to pay for a TV license." But you don't have to technically, but you have to because you'll have fucking people knocking on your door left, right, and centre. And you don't want that for your mum and dad or whoever's watching this, whatever age you are. That's how mad it is here in the United Kingdom. Now, do I find it worth the value of that? What we pay every year? Yes and no. I'm mixed emotions of it because people do ask me, is it true you have to have a license in the United Kingdom to watch TV? You know, it's like when I tell them about our police force do not have guns. But beside all that, we was influenced a lot of film stars and TV stars in the 80s and 90s, even the early 2000s. You know, you even had the likes of cast of Jackass. You know, the likes of Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O and all that lot in the early 2000, well, mid 2000s. I think it was 2006 when they came in. You know, all over professional wrestling, over the years. Even Andy Kaufman back in the day when he was feuding with the likes of Jerry the King Lawler, one of my favorite feuds of all time of professional wrestling when it comes to celebrity endorsements. Now you got to realize these celebrities in 2026 have changed face since obviously the dawn of time of professional wrestling, from movie stars to TV stars. Now YouTube influencers are getting in the act. You got the likes of Logan Paul. You know, you even got music stars like Jelly Roll. You've got the likes of Bad Bunny. You even got that's how crazy the world's come in professional wrestling. But we always have that celebrity endorsements. We can't get away from it. We've even got the latest induction towards that sort of social media influencers are the new celebrities of the world. Believe it or not. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to be jumping in the ring anytime soon to have a fucking match. Are you fucking mad? With my health conditions, I took a back bump once and I had a concussion because I didn't land correctly. Yeah, and it fucking stings and it fucking hurts. I'm proud to say I actually jumped in the ring and felt what they feel. They've got more thick skin than people realise. And like I was saying, the latest induction towards, not the WWE Hall of Fame, before people jump say that, but the latest induction towards these influencers taking over the professional wrestling is IShowSpeed. Now, the problem where it comes in, right? We had the movie stars that where I was saying it used to draw us into the power of professional wrestling because everyone wanted to get in on the act. Even MTV made Celebrity Deathmatch. You know, that was sort of an endorsement towards celebrities getting involved with professional wrestling, even though if it was claymation, but still, it had its purpose to get involved with professional wrestling. Now the thing is, when I look at the likes of IShowSpeed, look at what he actually did a few years ago, or was it only 2 years ago? It feels so long ago since I've watched the WWE. Like, as you people may or may not know, I stopped watching at SummerSlam last year because I had enough of the company. But I give IShowSpeed credit where it's due to jump in the ring to take that spear for Braun Breaker back when he did. But now he's trained to be a wrestler with Randy Orton. Yes, we've seen behind the scenes sort of thing. And as of late, Randy Orton has been attacked because he got involved in his match. And you look at the likes of, LA Knight to stop him sort of winning the tag team titles. Then all of a sudden, you've actually got LA Knight attacking, what you call it, IShowSpeed only last night on his live stream. Now, is this the 11th and breadth of what WWE has come to? Or is it any sort of way or form? And it's not just social media influencers that's influenced professional wrestling in the past, even sports stars. I didn't mention that, I do apologise. We had the likes of Mike Tyson when he influenced the Attitude Era. Then he appeared on the likes of AEW within the last few years. Yes, it was not a great appearance, I'll admit it, but he's still had the throwdown with the likes of Jericho going forward. Now, what I'm saying to you guys is that we can't get away from what they're basically trying to latch on what is trending. But I give IShowSpeed the credit where it's due to get in the ring. But obviously, with the rumors and speculations, their match going to be at WrestleMania 42 does not draw me in. Now, the thing is, the drawing power is yes, IShowSpeed has got quite a lot of young individuals, we might want to say, the youth of today, to basically encourage people to try and buy tickets to go and watch him. I know he's got an older fan base as well, you know. And you look at the likes of Logan Paul, he's proven people wrong how much he's adapted. Even though I don't like how they're handling the likes of Logan Paul, I thought he would actually have a world title shot by now. He's currently the tag team champions with Austin Theory, which is kind of weird in itself because I feel like at the moment, if you were influenced that much about the Logan Paul situation when he had the United States title run, I thought that was an interesting and bold move to do that, and it pissed a lot of people off. And he's living and breathing his character. I compared him to the likes of David Arquette of this generation. He could have easily won the Rumble this year, and that's just me being honest. And that's not me watching the product, because I'm just saying, because if they are using social media influencers, they should have pushed the likes of Logan Paul to that world title picture. Yes, he did face Roman Reigns at one point for the WWE title in Saudi Arabia, and it was a pretty good damn match. And I'll be honest with you about that. But then you look at the likes of what you're actually doing with him at the moment. I feel like, okay, you're losing him in the shuffle. I'm not a fan of the vision. I've not been a fan of the WWE product since obviously SummerSlam last year, and that's saying something. But the fan base, when people are proven wrong, even though the likes of Jelly Roll, he's putting his heart in his character. He's determined to make himself pretty good in the ring. He's lost weight. He's done everything. This is giving me. I'm not saying I'm giving WWE credit for Jelly Roll's the way he's portraying himself in the WWE, but I don't want to see it every time. But I give him credit where it's due. He's actually lost a lot of weight going forward. He's the celebrities and the music endorsements and the YouTube influencers are the new, how to put it, the attraction match of professional wrestling. Back in the day, you had that attraction match that people want to pull in, but WWE are not technically executing it properly. That sort of thing. I'm intrigued to see what. I'm not going to be watching it, but I'd be watching probably a clip of it or something to see the likes of how IShowSpeed actually puts himself in the ring, you know, and it kind of feels weird in itself because all I've seen by the clips alone, the Vision is one group that has been like a revolving door. Look who you started with in the Vision. You could see where they were going with it. Now it just feels like a slap ass team put together, you know, and it's bizarre. But you got to admit, we cannot get away with the celebrity endorsements in professional wrestling. We can never get away from it. And I do give credit the likes of Logan Paul what he's actually done for the WWE. But WWE, I feel like they don't credit him enough to give him that world title picture. It would have been interesting to see him being pushed toward the headline WrestleMania if you wanted that much endorsements towards the social media influencers, such as the likes of Logan Paul. You know, I feel like that could have been a far superior match. CM Punk versus Logan Paul. The promos would have been far superior. You got to think now, guys, right? I'm being honest with you. even though we do have social media influencers in professional wrestling as the new TV, film, sports, you know, all wrestling, like I've mentioned just briefly, is select few in this very upload for you guys today. You got to think, right? I've, I'm not being funny, but I feel like that would have been a far superior main event of WrestleMania. I don't want to see Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. You know, it feels like we're living in the past. But what they're trying to influence us to believe in with the likes of CM Punk versus Roman Reigns is big as Rock versus Austin. Or, no, sorry, Rock versus Cena. That's what it feels like it's coming across to me. Because the way CM Punk is what I've seen in clips, and that's just me being honest, is trying to be that face of that company, even though they're trying to technically build the company around. You don't technically know who's actually the face of the company, but it feels like Cody's trying to outshine everyone being the face of the company. You've got Clash of the Egos once again going into the WWE. Now, this is not me hindering WWE, but you got to think this: the average age of the locker room at the moment is 41, and that's worrying. You may think, oh, but Chris Jericho's gone back to WWE. He's 55. I'm just, I'm saying this, right? And I've said this in numerous of my videos. Start promoting young stars properly, because you're not going to have that many in your locker room left. And that is me being honest. Because the reason why I'm being honest about it, before people jump down my throat by saying I'm an AEW fanboy, I'm a hater and all this lot, I've addressed this. I'm not a hater. But if you start promoting your young stars, look at the height of the Attitude Era, how old the average age of the locker room was. Right? With the WWE and their work ethic, what they demand from their professional wrestlers, from doing house shows, from doing Raw, from SmackDown, from doing PLEs, doing Saturday Night Main Event, Main Event. That's not even included in the NXT brand, because they don't, how to put it, I'm not saying this in a bad light, they don't work hard as the main roster. You know, they've got grueling tasks, even TV appearances. When you look at the likes of AEW, they don't do house shows, which is sensible, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like AEW wouldn't be around as long as it has if they did house shows. They're exclusive to Dynamite, they're exclusive to Ring of Honor technically, they're exclusive to Collision. That's it. That just worries me. That's why I keep stressing this. Promote young stars now. You know, you're gonna within the next 5 years, who's gonna be fucking what you call it? Why do you think people make the jokes about WrestleMania 60? You're gonna have CM Punk main event and he's grey and old. It's just the demanding work that they're expecting from the WWE wrestlers, the superstars, whatever you want to class them as. And that's the male side of things. I haven't even included the females yet, but that's why I keep stressing about it. They need to start promoting young stars. Oh yeah, they are doing. They've got Brock Lesnar versus Obi Fami. No, I'm not being funny. If Brock Lesnar wins that match, what's that gonna do? That's not gonna prove a point. That's not gonna get him the win over Brock. At least with Obi, yes, he's young talent. But you got to remember this: the most of the people that are getting over at the moment are not even the world champions or the tag team champions. Or this is what I'm getting at: the people that are actually more over with the fans of the moment on social media. What I've noticed are being influenced are by the people that aren't actually got a championship. And that's living proof, and they're not listening to you as fans. I'm not saying about investing money and all this. Like, I don't want to fucking go down that route with the ticket pricing and all that. Like, I've said it countless in my videos, I know, but I need to drill it home that it's worrying times. You know, I used to look forward to watching WWE. This is me being honest with you guys. I've said it many times in my videos. I used to look forward to watching it. I watched it religiously. Now I do not even entertain it. If I'm scrolling through social media, that's the only time I'm going to take glimpses of it. And seeing the stuff what they've actually done with IShowSpeed, it doesn't seem right. Although, yes, you are doing the new version of what we've actually had in the old days. When I mentioned the likes of Jerry the King Lawler and the likes of Andy Kaufman, that feud to the point where they beat up each other on a chat show. I think it was David Letterman. I could be wrong. But you use the means whatever you want to promote your product, but I don't think it's delivering to the fans as much as most people are making out it is. That's just me being honest. It's not executed that well, as you may think. Because you look, if this is going to be the poorest record of ticket sales, and WWE will get seat fillers in to make out, yeah, it's big attendance. But remember, they are paid to watch it, other than the people that are paying hard earned money to invest into a mortgage just to go to WrestleMania. I can't fathom it. But that's the problem where it lies when people are getting over with the fans and people are respecting them more than the people that have actually been around this business a while. You know, I think it's just an overkill with the likes of certain endorsements now. Jelly Roll, even though I do give him credit for what he's doing, but I don't think people are into it. You've got the likes of Logan Paul proving people wrong. Yeah, fair enough, he can go in the ring, but you're not actually pushed him to a singles run title yet. Yeah, I mean, like the main stage, like WWE champion or the likes of the world champion. IShowSpeed, he's only just got into it. I'm just thinking, okay, it is what it is, guys. You gotta like it or lump it. To be honest, like I've said in my previous video, I look at this WrestleMania card and I think there's possibly one match I wouldn't mind watching, but I'm not in the mood to. Because I'm not in the mood to waste my time, waste sleep because of WrestleMania being on. This is the first year I can actually say this could be one of the poorest WrestleManias. And I feel like WrestleMania, if you were struggling that much, even though to fill out the card, even though you got like 2 weeks left, I think it is now. 2 weeks, or was it 3 weeks? I feel like they should now rethink what they're actually the model they're actually going for in WrestleMania. Not think of greed, think in sensibility. Move it back to one night. Because if you are just putting random matches to fill out that card, that you have struggled, like potentially within the past week now you got 4 more matches to actually add. It doesn't make any sense, quite honestly, because Seth was doing nothing, Gunther was doing nothing. Now them two have got a match, which you literally had no. It makes no sense. You've literally had Gunther retire two professional wrestlers, and then you didn't know what to do with him afterwards. It's your own fault for relying on him too much. To retire two professional wrestlers, and that's just me being honest. You just think even now you're going for that cash grab, that extra bit with John Cena being the host, but he's not going to do that much. What's the fucking point? But like, this is not me knocking it. This is just me being honest. But anyway, guys, I'm off. Until next time. Keep on hitting that subscribe button, keep on hitting that bell icon so you'll be notified anytime right here on YouTube for my next upload. Thanks, guys, for listening.